Okay, good evening. It is 6 p.m. on Tuesday, September 1st, and I will call this meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. If you'd all please stand and join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first up is approval of the minutes from, are we all in these meetings? There's nobody that missed any of these, right?
No, you were all in all of them.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from July 21st, August 3rd, August 4th, and August 18th.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve payroll warrant number 5 for $272,789.86.
292.
What did I say?
272.
$292,789. $292,789.86. Warrant number 1009 for the school for $133,859.34. General warrant number 1010 for $366,990.32. And the debt warrant for debt warrant number 1011 for $780,676.95.
So moved. Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Approval of CARES Act funds. What do we got? CARES Act money. So we got our Kelco sprayers finally. What do we got? 4 of them. So we're looking to just approve this out of the CARES Act money.
Yep.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved. Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor? And we got a request from the public schools for speech, physical therapy, some other costs associated with teaching that should come under the CARES Act money. They're requesting $12,684.02 to be paid from the CARES Act account. $9,247.40 is for technology infrastructure upgrade. $3,436.62 is for special education. Do we know what we have for money available, or are we? I mean, we put in a lot. There's 100 and something thousand in that, but I'm not sure. Well, I'll entertain a motion we approve and figure it out after.
So moved. Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Jason Benoit's not here yet, right?
Did you send him a thing? Did you send him a message?
I did send him not tonight, no.
I talked to him this morning.
And he said he was coming? All right, so we'll just hold off on the Bruce Arnold stormwater issue until he shows.
Is he coming? Oh. I think he's outside. Late to the party.
Oh, he's outside? Okay, old business. Fitzgerald Pucci's petition for Zoom meetings. Does anybody care to entertain that?
We never got a petition, did we?
No, we never got a petition, but I'm not inclined to do Zoom. That was a temporary thing when the issue was problematic at the beginning and we didn't know. Now I think we have ample numbers to show that it's not the problem that they all try to continually tell us it is.
And that was done by you personally on your own equipment
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you paid for the Zoom personally,
Yeah.
out of your own pocket.
right. It was,
So-
yeah, my account, my computer.
Yeah.
Was just trying to get everybody access temporarily, so if you have something to say to the board, feel free to join us, and we will hear what you have to say. Okay, is Jason here?
He's coming in now.
Ethan's got a hand up.
Yeah,
Waiting for you.
we're waiting for you.
Sorry.
We held the whole.
6:30.
So,
You were elected, but you weren't here. You got it?
I'm sorry?
Could I speak to your last point about the petition?
I don't-
About the petition. Could I speak to your asking for
About the Zoom.
comments
He
on
wants to
the
talk about
petition?
Zoom.
Well, I'll hear what you have to say, if you want to say something quick.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I would be in favor of the outcome of that petition, which was to reinstate Zoom, because I think that there are still plenty of people, regardless of how the current company feels, who are not comfortable coming in, and I think that by not having Zoom, you're effectively disenfranchising those people. I'm saying this on my own behalf, not on behalf of the Board of Health by any means, but personally, I'm reticent to be here in the first place, and wish that I could be here via Zoom.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, this is an administrative board that handles business for the town under Chapter 38, Section 20. Nobody has the absolute right to speak at a meeting unless it's an open hearing, published hearing, in which case it's statutorily required that we get input from the community. So we always have allowed public input because we think it's important for people to have a say, and we, we'll listen to what people have to say. But it's not an absolute requirement, so it's not disenfranchising anybody because your say doesn't really, although it may impact what we think, ultimately it's our vote and our vote alone that determines issues. So that's pretty much why we're taking the position that we are. And it's an open meeting. It's broadcast live over so that everybody can hear. And the open meeting law is so that the public can see what town boards and commissions are doing, and not so that they can influence that board one way or another. So we're in full compliance with the open meeting law. We're in full compliance with all statutory requirements. So although I do appreciate that some people would rather participate by Zoom, we're not inclined to do that here. So.
I just address that also. I've been coming to these meetings as much as possible for years, and even before COVID, maybe we get 2 or 3 people at a meeting, so I don't think it's actually disenfranchising anybody who really is interested. I mean, if they didn't want to come before, why would suddenly they want to come now? And there's, they said, ample room in here to accommodate people that do come, so I don't see the point of it all. So it's, like I said, I've been going for years, and rarely, unless you have some important thing, coming up for a money vote or something, people don't show up anyway.
Yeah, thanks. And surprisingly, we got a few emails and comments from people that don't come to meetings saying that they're not in favor of Zoom either. They can watch it on the TV and they're fine with that. So I found that interesting because we don't usually get comments in that manner. So, all right, anything else on that? You have
Nope.
anything? Okay. We had the Finance Committee here tonight because there were a couple of issues.
Stormwater.
Oh, stormwater, I'm sorry. Thank you. Stormwater, we get that covered. So, the Arnolds.
Yes.
What's the, there's water. Is it a town issue, not a town issue? What's the?
Well, without boring the crowd here, a month ago, I would have believed that this water issue on the Arnold property would have been a town issue. And I truly believed that was the case. So, in a little bit of research associated with the drainage in the area there, we've discovered that first of all, there is a drain line on the property. It's a stone culvert. It was determined last year that it's in failure because it has roots in it. It appears that it comes from the internal part of the property. Mr. Arnold has stated that there's no easement on his deed associated with this drainage. I investigated some of the neighbors' wells. It appears that near all of them have overflows. This particular one appears to be an overflow connected to a catch basin. Like I said, I would have believed it was ours until I discovered this information. We've already contributed about $3,000 in tree removal, thinking that the issue was a town issue. That took place last year. I believe Mr. Arnold was going to contract with a construction outfit to do some digging to replace the culvert that's in failure. Apparently obviously that didn't happen for whatever reasons. So I don't believe it's a town issue. I believe it's his issue.
Have you, so from what I heard, there was an offer at some point that the town would give you some supplies and you would handle the labor,
Yes.
and that didn't happen?
That was the tree removal, and I was gonna donate the pipe,
Okay.
and obviously that never happened.
Okay, so let's deal with the well first of all. Last meeting here I gave a number, and that was 2 above-ground pools of water in 3 hours get pumped out of that basement. That's over 33,000 gallons of water. 33,000 gallons of water, okay? Nobody's well's doing that. Show me the well, I'll go visit the property owner and we'll talk about it. But nobody's well is doing that. Buzzy's well is not overflowing.
You're right, it's filled with dirt.
Who is it?
It's filled. It's been eliminated. Somebody's filled.
Okay, so there's not 33,000 gallons coming out of here. There is no way.
I think you're referring to surface water.
Okay, and surface
and we
water.
both know, we both stood there and saw the stone culvert that's in failure.
Right,
We unearthed that on both ends.
correct.
So, what makes you believe that it's connected to our drains? It's not.
That, okay, that day, we spoke, before Slim and Berthium left the property, it was your statement at that time, and you said the town should be responsible for taking care of this.
I did say that. and
Okay.
I totally agree
All
with
right.
that statement
Now-
at the time.
Now, here's, water comes in from different pipes in that area. Water runs over the berm, if you look at the photographs that I took and provided as a report, all right, water overflows the swales up on Maple Street. It flows down and it makes a miniature Grand Canyon to the side of, I think it's 87. And it flows through that backyard to Ockman's property, forms a pool. At the pool, it disappears into a sinkhole, like the sinkholes I had in my property. At that point, it enters that culvert and it backs up and it runs into the cellar. Okay, now, Sunday the 23rd, we had a rain, all right? We were out of town. We were not anywhere around. We had another 18 inches of water in the cellar. Whatever that rainstorm on Sunday the 23rd caused, that delivered 18 inches of water to our basement. It completely saturated the furnace. Okay, so now I've got another furnace. This is not the first furnace. Now I've got another furnace that's in need of inspection and repair. I haven't done that yet. The costs are adding up, the time is adding up. The property tax is valued high. Nobody will buy that house with 3 sump pumps in the basement for the price it's valued at. Nobody will buy it. All right, my remedy is to reject your water. That's my right. The town has, and property owners above me, have no right to put water in my basement. The biggest property owner that's putting water in my basement is the town. It's coming off of Maple Street. There are other pipes that come down. We saw that when Slim and Brookfield opened up the water. There was a pipe coming down between Gifford's barn and Gifford's house. That's another pipe that was open, and it was delivering water.
So all these pipes are delivering water onto
There's
his
only
property?
one culvert that's in failure there, right at this moment.
And if the culvert gets fixed, does that solve the problem?
It would not solve the problem, it would remedy the problem.
Yeah,
And what's the culvert made of?
Stone, it's a stone culvert, field stone put in place, two walls and a roof.
So
They're all over town.
where does that have to go, from the road on Lower Chestnut, is it Lower Chestnut? The short road where they are?
No,
no, we're on Summer Street.
That's Prospect.
Like is it,
I call it
okay,
Upper Prospect.
Upper Prospect, I'm sorry, Chestnuts, yeah.
And
So if you went from Prospect, how far back, like you said you were gonna donate the pipe?
oh,
How far
the
back do
basic
you
would
have to go to
right
get the
in-
water from?
It would go right up behind his house.
Yeah,
And that still wouldn't completely solve the problem, because it wouldn't be connected to wherever.
Where the water's coming
Yeah,
from? So how do you
Okay,
know
so-
where that water's coming from?
it's just runoff, like every other house in town. You get water.
Yeah.
We've had some very severe storms, as you know.
Yeah, but an inch of water, you shouldn't have 18 inches of water in your basement.
Well,
Is an open
we
swale,
We had
is
3
an open
inches.
swale an option behind his house down to the road? I'm just
Well, you know,
not a hydrologist, so.
there's lots of ways to fix it. I mean, I could have a koi pond that overflows onto Prospect Street. I
I'm
mean,
just
that-
looking for
But,
waste.
but on the other hand, having a koi pond brings the water table up to the level where I'm getting water in the basement. Okay,
You
so
had-
that really isn't a good option.
Have you had any experts look at it, any kind of,
We paid $1,000 for Brookfield to open that up last year. Jason came up and took a look and finally believed, oh yeah, okay, there's a culvert there. Nobody believed it. This was not believable. Ray Blake knew it was there. Ray fixed it temporarily. I mean, and Jason, I'll give you that. That was a temp fix. I mean, we had geysers when the kids were, what year about?
Well,
So they were, maybe 20 years ago, we had geysers, no lie, coming 4 feet out of the ground. 4 feet.
from what?
well,
Just coming up out of the
Is that-
backyard.
is that water
this,
runoff?
This issue has been visited by
Because-
previous superintendents, and I'm gonna make the assumption, and correct me if I'm wrong, that no one made the determination that it's an actual town culvert.
Yes, Ray Blake blocked one.
Yes,
He
and that's
blocked-
the one, that's
He blocked one catch basin.
that's correct.
All right, from dumping down, but there are others up there.
No,
and
there is not,
okay, and then it's surface water coming over the swale
that's correct.
Yeah, so
and off of a roof.
I
But-
I wanna say,
Sure, go ahead.
it is blocked at the corner of Prospect and Summer Street. And we looked at that when Bercume came and dug it all up, and there's a blockage there, right at the storm drain, where our water, that water should come down and go into that storm drain underground. And that's why,
and what's it blocked with, just,
Roots.
roots,
with the it fell in, oh, roots.
and that's why Jason had the trees cut down. So
But you gotta take the
it could
roots
be
out of
dug
there?
up, repiped,
Massive stone.
and connected to the storm drain.
So if that storm drain was cleared of the roots, would that
The
solve?
culvert is in failure, not the stone.
Up through the yard,
Right.
up through the yard.
If the culvert was now rebuilt, all right, from starting at about our driveway, which is 3/4 of the way across the property, if the culvert was rebuilt because it was unerected, parts of it fell in and whatnot, all the way to the corner and roots were cleared out, which, and by the way, the tree that we're talking about, I gotta believe that's a $1,500 tree job, but I don't know, I don't do them. That's on the tree belt. Trees belong to the town, they're not my trees. All right, so.
The tree on the, is it a
They were
town?
town trees,
Yeah.
and not the prettiest, but certainly were healthy, so,
Yeah, they weren't in danger.
right. One of them.
However,
Well,
if that was, you know, let's say that the culvert were rebuilt, starting at the driveway, coming across the property, going diagonal down to the, storm drain, and the roots were cleared out of that area, because that's what Ray Blake actually did when he did it. He ran a snake down there, a high pressure hose, hooked it up to the fire hydrant, and it had a, you know, rotating head on it. A couple of his guys got down there, rammed this thing down there, and it took them, it was like 2 days of work. And then they put it all back together, nice and replaced, but they had unearthed and broken the culvert, you know, taking the capstones off. They put it all back together, and it was fine for a long time. I mean,
So you're saying the driveway behind the house, they'd have to go behind your house? And you drive, I haven't, been
yeah.
the driveway goes behind, not in
No,
front.
The driveway runs perpendicular off of Summer Street.
Yep,
Okay?
but all the way to the back of the
Culvert
house?
runs across in front of, or underneath maybe, the apron for the garage.
All right.
Or the barn. In back of the house, and that runs diagonally across the lot, to the storm drain. And, you know, storm
Raises
drain.
another issue.
Now,
The ownership of the culvert, I believe, prior to me or at some time in the past 10 years, did the town adopt some type of bylaw that you can't dump your sump pumps into the drainage system underground? I know we dealt with this over on Forest Street. And at the
Yeah.
time Leslie said that's true, and I have yet to see it in writing.
yeah.
So the ownership of the culvert, I think, should be determined. Fact is, that's why I say to you, I don't believe it's a town culvert.
Well,
It's old enough where it would probably appear on a deed.
It doesn't.
in other municipalities, and I can't name names because people have talked to me off the record on this, all right? The ownership or responsibility of a utility like this becomes the town's responsibility.
I disagree.
If common law says, okay, and this is, you know, common law, it's not, nobody's got this chiseled in the granite. On common law, if I don't gain any benefit from this culvert, it's not my problem. Whoever gains benefit from this culvert, it becomes their problem. So, you know, realistically, it's surface water, it's storm water. It's not my problem, and it's coming into my basement. It is my problem now. Now, my remedy is to reject the water. That's my right as a property owner. I am rejecting the water delivered to this culvert, which is entering my basement.
When you think about getting town council's opinion on that ownership issue, because I think we need to establish whether the town owns it and is responsible for it or not. I think we'll probably need town council to determine that.
I posed the question to Mr. Arnold a number of weeks ago, and the conversation led around the fact that, and he can't reference it all, and I don't expect him to reference it, but prior to town water, that property, it's safe to assume, had a well, maybe two, and I do believe it's part of the problem.
Go back to my numbers, the pumps and the calculations. I've got them in
Sir,
my-
we're talking surface water.
I'll go to my calculations here. If I have a few minutes, I can dig them right out.
No, it doesn't,
I believe
the
you.
calculations doesn't matter, water's getting there, we gotta find out who owns it to figure out if the town's liable or not liable, that's,
Above-ground pools, 33 feet of water.
So one of the things that, I think we should ask town council for their opinion on who owns it. But we had a problem similar, probably still have a similar problem, the same problem over on, Reed and Conroy Ave. Okay, there's some drainage that runs behind all those houses. And there are catch basins and cleanouts and stuff back there, and we can only get on there when people move their stuff and we can get on there. And we've gotten complaints about water getting in the basements. And years ago, the town tried to fix certain things, but then you gotta get an easement from all the owners to actually fix the thing because it's on their property. So there's a question about whether or not it was town owned or it just because it's on their property, it's theirs and whatever. So there was a huge issue back then, and we couldn't get permission from everybody for easements.
Yeah,
And nobody
same
wanted to go
happens
through ordering that as a.
It raises a point. If it's established ownership, so this is important. Let's say the town, it's established that it's the town's, hypothetically, and the problem is not fixed. Does that mean we have to continue on? So I think it's very important to know who owns that car.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should,
As far as we can tell, if we have a pipe that will replace the, stoneway that was there, that culverts the water down to the storm drain, and it goes to the storm drain, like it always has, we have no real right to touch that if it impacts the town's stormwater.
That's right.
We have no right to put that water into the storm drain or to change it. So
That doesn't make sense.
No, if I came to you, I would have to come with an engineered plan to the town to do anything different other than what's right there right now. So like, if I said, geez, you know, I can pick up, I can pick up 12-inch culvert for $120 a lane and have a guy install it for X amount of money, but what I'd like to do is hook it to where it comes under my garage, run it under the ground where it follows the path of that thing. I have to get your permission, or the town's permission, not you, Jason. I have to get the town's permission to put that water into the stormwater.
what is that based on? Was that,
That's
Why?
the bylaws that I was
That's
referring to.
that's
We're
right
already-
of flow.
we're already
That-
hooked
that-
into it.
That changes sometimes.
The people that are responsible for that water area, the people where it comes from, okay, if I as a person change, redirect, reject that water, I have to be responsible for my actions for those downstream.
right, well, you're talking riparian rights, which is water
Yeah.
rights, but, that's natural water, that's not stormwater runoff, so
Well,
I'm not
sure.
sure that
And
it
storm-
applies,
well,
which is why,
stormwater it's surface water.
which is why I wanna get town council's opinion on it, because, you know,
Now, I think, you know, one thing before we delay further and keep going on and on, if I need to, I know what I gotta do.
all right, well,
You know, so.
well, from our end, we're gonna find out if the town owns it and is responsible for it, and if we are, we will,
Well,
we'll make arrangements to get it so that it's right.
how,
But we need to know if we own it and we're liable for it. So we will talk to town council and find out what the law is on that issue, and we'll let you know.
do we get a time frame on?
Well, I'll email him tomorrow morning. It usually doesn't take a long turnaround for them. They probably will need to do a little bit of research unless they have somebody that handles it all the time. So I would say within a week. And as soon as I know, I'll email it to you. I won't make you wait until another meeting to.
You know, and let them know if they need any data, you know, if they need a site visit, if they need anything at all. I'm happy to do that. The photographs are there, they can look at, they can see,
Yep.
you know, the effects, right?
Yep.
I don't know whether anybody looked at the video that I left, but,
No, I didn't see a video, but we did look at the books and stuff.
yeah, you know, the video just kind of explains the background and whatnot, but. Okay,
Alright.
so a week's time?
Yeah, and if I get it quicker, I'll let you know quicker, and
Okay.
I'll email you also. All right,
Sounds good.
great, thanks.
Really appreciate that.
Are there any other issues with
fix that pothole I told you about,
Oh, yeah.
that road?
Aye.
Yeah.
And Jason.
Chapter 151A request? What's that?
That's, a reimbursement, I believe.
There's some stuff and some emails from Ann in there.
Oh, so it's nothing that we need Jason here to take care of, right?
No, but,
Highway Department,
did I put the emails in there?
oh, it's just an employment issue. Oh, you sent it to us.
Oh, yeah, you're right, I know what it is now. It's pretty self-explanatory
Okay.
up to the selectmen. Just a request from at least my employees for the selectmen to consider what's the verbiage?
It would be a what, an addition to the
Not
contract?
Family Leave
It's a
Act, so-
payroll tax on the employer and the employee. And we'd have to vote it in at town meeting, and everyone would be
Oh, okay.
into it.
So that'll be November, I think.
Yeah,
Free cash,
just-
free
I just
cash.
forward now, so we
Okay.
can still,
Oh, all right,
mill it over.
good, all right, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you, have a good evening.
Thanks, Jason.
So we invited the finance committee here because there were a couple of money issues that we were going to address, so we wanted you guys on board and involved in the conversation. So the first one is the public health nursing contract. We received a bill to pay the town of Sutton for nursing services. So we questioned paying another town for nursing services. And we asked for a contract, and we received a contract. There was a one-year contract dated October of 2010. So I guess, and it came from the Board of Health, so I guess the Board of Health was invited here to explain to us 10-year-old contract and why we're getting billed from the town of Sutton.
Cheryl Rowinski has been our public health nurse since then. Been covered, all of our flu, clinics, that type of stuff for years, and there was very little money passing. And we do not update that annually, but she continues to work for us and continues to bill for us. And the amounts have gone up dramatically due to the COVID, because she's the person that gets all of our COVID individuals and sends them over to dispatch and does the tracing. There's a lot of the work around this that was shared, some by Cheryl and Brian. But, and if you would like us to get an up-to-date contract from her, we'd be happy to do that.
So this contract was entered into between municipalities, and it was signed by the selectmen, who are the ones that enter into contracts on behalf of the town. It's a one-year contract from 2010 through 2011. The rate at the time was $55 an hour. We received a bill for $75. The contract says any amendments or changes to the provisions can only be done by mutual agreement, and any changes shall be in writing. So we didn't authorize payment under this contract because there's no contract in place, and I'm not aware of any authority that the Board of Health has to enter into contracts on behalf of the town. So does anybody? Yes.
It sounds like these services are predominantly COVID related. Is it not covered by CARES money or COVID money?
Yeah, I don't know what the services.
Since 2010, we haven't had a contract either,
Right,
since
my
2010,
understanding
so.
too is that she doesn't just work for us. She works for several municipalities. Is that not correct?
That's correct, she works for 19 towns.
The school, this is the nurse now, right?
Correct.
But we have a contract, this contract,
That came from them. That came from Sutton. We might have a different copy in our records.
We couldn't find one, and again, we'd love to update it. It's absolutely imperative that we have this, and it's, you know, imperative that the Board of Health be able to hire people like this. And we can check with town council on that also.
Well, you can check all you want with whoever you want, but not on our dime. And, you know, you've accused the Board of Selectmen of not working with the Board of Health from the beginning. Yet, here's an example of you not working with the Board of Selectmen as the people that are in charge of the contracts for the town. So,
I'm sorry, Dale, so are you saying that we intentionally didn't update this contract and is that what you were? because we didn't want to-
intentionally or
We've never seen
unintentionally.
it, we've never seen, I haven't seen a contract in 4 years.
And I've been here for 5 and I've never extended this contract, so.
Right, well, and
Are
what I'm
you
saying
saying
is
that-
that what we need to do is extend it, because it's of absolute public health interest. And I believe the Board of Health does have, power on that. And, if we cannot use town council to, verify that, I think we'll end up calling them to take it down to court.
You, as the Board of Health, have a budget. You can use your budget whatever way you want to use your budget. This is the problem that we're running into, is because you think that you can operate outside of the Board of Selectmen, who are the administrative board for the town. You think for some reason that the governor's orders just gives you the free rein to mess with everybody in town. I would entertain a motion, or actually I'll make a motion, that we not pay this, and we advise the town of Sutton that this contract has not been valid for some 9 years, and if the Board of Health thinks that they have some power to enter into a contract, then they can do so on the power that they believe they have.
Good question, Dale.
Yeah,
Yes.
This being what it is, what happens if we don't get this service from whoever, whether it's Sutton or North Brookfield or wherever? What happens if this stops?
Nothing.
No, that's not true.
Something
We
must
won't
happen.
have
She
contact
must be
tracing
giving
for,
us-
we won't have.
Oh, we won't have contact tracing for the one case that we have active on a, tri-weekly basis, so,
We average about one a week. We've gone a little bit long without one.
oh my God.
We don't know
Well,
that.
Dale, what am I supposed to do? We have a job to do,
Right.
and this public
Well-
health nurse is an important parcel of that job.
Well, then maybe the Board of Health should have come to the Board of Selectmen early on and tried to work with us to put these things in place, instead of just usurping our power
What
and
are we
thinking you have
usurping?
the power of a
We just
governor.
got bills from the
Point
public
of
health
order.
nurse.
Yes.
We didn't know
So-
that there was a different contract.
So, point of order, there's a motion on the floor, and it hasn't been seconded yet, so I'm gonna second it so we can continue the discussion, through proper rules.
Okay,
Yeah. What does this nurse do?
well, I don't know
Does she give
specifically
food
what
jobs?
she does.
Let-
I can tell you what she doesn't do. She doesn't tell the Board of Selectmen under Chapter 111, Section 104, where the active cases are in town, so.
Well, that's
I can
not-
tell you what she doesn't do, so she's
And
not
that's because she's
complying with the
following
law. It's not a law,
And,
so,
you know, again, we can fight
Again,
this all I want, again, I
I don't
would love
care.
to have, you have town council write us, because from everybody we've talked to, what you're saying about that is incorrect.
well, you should
So,
take a lesson from the July 4th incident when the DPH, the governor's office, and the attorney general's office all refused to take any action. And it was only when a certain individual from the Board of Health went to the newspapers, that it became an issue. I got a call from the DPH who said they have absolutely no power and control over a locally elected Board of Health, so.
well, again,
uh,
that differs from what they tell us, but, we do have powers over and above both the select board and DPH in regards to public health. And one area we have it is in things like Title V agents, public nurses. We have the right to hire them and to see that they get paid a fair wage.
Yeah.
And I believe that is the law, and I believe that we need to have town council weigh in on this.
Well, your belief is incorrect, because we've already had town council weigh in on this, and the only thing that you have the power to hire as a Board of Health is a physician. So that's the
I would
only
like to
independent
see
power
that
you
in
have.
writing.
Well, I'll give it to you, I'll give you the statute, but you think.
No, I want to hear it from town council, because you interpret statutes differently than everybody that we talk to about this. and that's going up to the Attorney General.
Right.
And, you know, and again, this would be a very serious thing. If you voted to stop us from having a public health nurse in the middle of this right now, believe me, this is gonna hit the fan big time.
We're not voting to stop you from having a public health nurse. We're stopping you from pursuing anything on a contract that's 10 years old and hasn't been renewed since.
So when I asked you, can we renew that, you said no. I mean, we need to renew it, whatever it takes to make you happy to continue using this person that we've used without any complaint for numerous boards of selectmen since 2010, and the person's escalated the prices, you know, since 2010, $25?
So
I mean,
bring
it's
us,
all
so,
fair, we're not trying to
so-
put
so-
anything on anybody.
so bring us a contract and we'll talk about it.
Well, that's not what was just said here, Bob, is that?
No, he said we're not gonna renew this contract.
Right.
We need
Alright.
one that's accurate.
Well, we're working on that contract with her, but we will have her write us another one, and hopefully we don't have a disruption in services.
So do we have to pay the $75 an hour? Cause this one says 55.
Right, that's my whole point.
That's my
You know-
question,
We
just
don't,
asking a
actually.
question.
Well, again, my way of looking at this, that's a fair increase for 10 years, and the included things that you're doing for us right now. And again, I think we need to have town council weigh in on that. If you're not going to okay that, well, let's get the contract before you ASAP, and then we can deal with that.
Yeah, my issue is if we pay the contract, if we pay the $75,
Then you're bound to
then
revalidate it,
we're,
don't we?
yeah,
Yeah,
we
you're
do.
bound to the
We renew the contract as it is, so,
Yeah.
You're giving up your right to negotiate.
yeah, check.
Well, we paid her
How
in the
big is
past.
the bill and where's the money gonna come from?
Well, there's a line item for a public health nurse, and there's also CARES Act funds, which we added to because we knew that it could be more expensive.
Well, yeah.
Do we have the bill that she's asking for? The
Yeah,
son for?
yeah, there's the bills in there, and, I questioned it because we're paying the town of Sutton, and I never heard of, you know, paying another
Well,
town
we've
for
been doing it
services.
for 10 years.
Yeah, it's a regional.
And it's perfectly normal, and we can get, you know, let's work together on this. We can't disrupt, this in the middle of this. I know you don't think there's anything going on here,
We don't,
but, it's,
that's true.
what, excuse me?
I said I don't, that's true.
Well, again, you know, you demonstrated that time and time again with this board. Our board has to deal with this issue as a real issue, like the rest of the country and the rest of this state. And, you know,
And you just saw the CDC number that says only 6% of the total cases are
Yeah.
actually related to COVID.
I'm not gonna get
but
into
not
this with you right now.
We don't have, it's not a debate society.
Yeah.
Well, the thing, John, is for the last 10 years, we haven't had a contract. I've been on for 2 years, I've never seen this. Never
Right.
come through, Dale's been on 5, Jason's been on a
Right,
few
and-
other times also. So apparently the Board of Health hasn't been doing their due diligence to
Yeah.
keep up on these contracts.
Right.
Is there somebody in the Board of Health that has the job of keeping up on contracts? I know Ashley took over last year for Leslie, who had been on for 20-some-odd years, and God rest her soul. And she knew all this stuff was going on with the Select Board and would keep up on that. Ashley is doing, I think, a really good job keeping up with stuff. She's learning as she goes. Everybody's trying to help her. But if something like this came up and she saw that it was 10 years old, she would question it.
Yeah.
Why are we getting a 10-year-old contract for $55
I'd have
and
to
we have to
look-
pay
I'd have to look
$75?
at that myself to see, my understanding was a member of understanding that Sutton would allow us to use her as our health nurse, and that we would, and that there was no limit on that.
Well, it says it's a 1-year contract.
Well, I think that we need to change that, and,
Tomorrow morning,
absolutely.
get it done and get
Yeah.
it to the board and we'll,
Should have been
Make-
changed 9 years ago.
correct. It wasn't followed up on is what the problem was. And now we're having the issue because it's more money now because of the COVID and the tracing and all that stuff. Before, it might have been a few $100s maybe
Right,
over the last, but because it's this much money now, it's an issue.
yep,
But this is the thing, it's a 10-year-old contract.
yeah, well, let's get that changed. and I will see that we, get that, you know, I'd asked her for an updated one when she sent us that, but we will get an updated one.
And when it comes in, it needs to say what it needs to say, and we'll go over it
Yep,
and go from there. But
Yep.
right now, I guess we're rejecting this bill because, like they said, it wouldn't validate the contract that's 10 years old.
alright, well, let's get
And we'd be
that
tied to
remedy,
it.
because it's absolutely paramount to public health in the town of Brookfield, that we have a public health nurse.
So does that satisfy? You're gonna get it to us as soon as
Yes,
you can,
as soon as
tomorrow
we
morning?
can.
And we'll,
And she was very quick in getting us that copy. I don't know who did it for her in her office, but, you know, they're extremely busy with the, work that they're doing, but it's kind of a situation right now where we're facing, where we've got people retiring from these positions, and at a rate that it's very hard to get health inspectors and or the public health nurses.
but we can't use that as an excuse. We need to get this done. There has to be somebody
Absolutely,
that's
absolutely.
taking her place, or that she has an assistant, or somebody
Right.
that can do this.
Right, and
We're
we
all
will-
busy, John, and
Yep.
we're all just trying to do the best we can.
Yes, and I
I'm sorry,
appreciate
Bill.
your bringing it to our attention,
That's fine.
because we've been going on for years thinking it was a
Nope,
memorandum
I
of
can't.
standard that was not just a one-year contract.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, I guess we amend the motion to, hold off payment until we are presented with a valid contract?
And we'll meet as soon as possible to clear it up.
Do we need to have a full meeting to do that, or is that something you can post for 2 days and that we can,
Yeah,
48
just
hours.
48 hours.
48 hours, so that we don't have to hold these guys up? If John gets this to us as soon as he can, I'm trying to
Yeah.
work with everybody
I know,
here.
my guess
If you
is
can
that
get
she
it to
will
us-
continue to cover us for the COVID stuff while we get this, and that's absolutely imperative, and I know you guys don't agree with that, but,
I see that, John, so don't say us guys don't agree with that. I'm trying to work with you guys and get that paperwork done, so it's
Right.
not a 10-year-old contract. We'll
Right.
talk about it, and you
Yep.
can keep going
Great.
forward.
All right, so,
While I just want some clarification. And it's not about the contract. So, you talk about the governor's, recommendations, rules, whatever, orders, and you talk about the law, and have you read chapter 111, section 104?
you know, I don't wanna get into a debate about this.
It's not a debate, John, I just want clarification.
Yes, and what the people that we have had look at this, from the Attorney General on down, give us our recommendations on how to proceed.
Right, have you read it?
Yes,
Have you read it?
you know,
Okay, so it says, I'm not gonna have the words exactly, do you have a copy of it?
well, this is why I don't wanna go into
No,
a,
just, John, just hear me out, John. So, it basically says that the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health shall have the knowledge of the locations of infectious diseases, so we can work together to best protect the population.
yeah, and I think you need to read the exact
Okay.
words in the law.
Well, that is chapter 111, section 104 in the law.
Yeah, but
okay.
again, when
So hold on. That's fine. I understand your position. Trevor's enlightened me a few times in emails, in person, whatever. We've discussed it. So my question to you involves our conversation that we had last Tuesday in your office when I was there for the Cemetery Commission meeting. I reiterated what Mass General Law says, and you said something about interpretation. I said that's fine, whatever. And I repeated myself about the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health, plural. And your response to me was, well, why aren't we telling you about all the other ones? So, what are all the other ones? Are they other infectious diseases that you're not telling us about?
yes, and the public health nurse gives us those as they come in, and, you know, due to HIPAA violations, we are not allowed to give out the names.
We don't want names, we want locations, John.
Right.
do you have the names?
No. And, the only person that gets the names, you might be able to explain this a little more.
So-
clearly.
The way that it works is that there's a state system called Maven, and if somebody tests positive, their name is entered into that database with their address. And the public health nurse will contact either the clerk or one of us to say, this address +1. And that gets called up to dispatch to say, this address, there's a COVID positive. And that's it. We don't keep paperwork on it, that's all done through Maven. And then she begins contact tracing through that.
So nobody in town knows who has it and where? You guys don't know it?
Just
No-
where?
Well, we don't wanna talk about who, we just want,
No, but I'm just saying,
Right.
nobody's aware of,
Dispatch is aware, the way that it's written is they want the receiving entity for emergency calls, so that they can tell first responders if special circumstances are warranted for that house.
so how long does it take for the first responders to get that information from dispatch?
As soon as the call comes in.
If somebody
for the-
calls the
if
fire
somebody calls in
department
for- Yeah, go ahead.
And they send Joey and a bunch of guys up to their house,
No,
they're
but-
not gonna know who's up there that has it, if they have it.
No, but the people that are in quarantine are instructed by the public health nurse or one of her employees, because there's, you know, like you said, she does 19 towns, and some of them have really heavy caseload, so. They instruct them, you know, any emergency call goes through 911.
So what happens now, and this is the case that I've been saying from the beginning, where the governor wants police officers and people to run through people's backyards and to, you know, break up parties of more than 50 or, and that person that's supposed to be quarantined says, I don't have to be quarantined, and now they're in the backyard, and we've exposed 2 or 3 of the 5-member police department to this horrible thing.
Right, well, it's the same idea as anything that's a public health risk, like with HIV, you know, you have to take protocols, you don't wanna get stuck by a needle.
Yeah,
It's
but
the
you're
same
not
idea.
telling us where this stuff is happening, so if we send somebody out, or if we go out, we have no idea, we're walking into a thing with a landmine.
Well, the
We need
chances-
to know, and so does fire,
They
police,
get it-
and
they get it
EMS.
from they get it from dispatch in the event of an emergency.
Yeah.
What
But they
if
don't.
dispatch isn't the vehicle for them to get their information or get the call?
We instruct the people that they need to call 911.
Not everybody does. You get walk-ins, you
Doesn't-
get calls, you
That
get,
hasn't happened, those people are in quarantine, they're supposed to be in quarantine.
We don't believe that's happened, but, you know, when you talk about your example of responding to a party, the chances of there being a person from North Brookfield who is under quarantine, breaking quarantine and going to that party, and somebody from another town that has many, many more, COVID cases, it's much more likely that, there'd be somebody from Spencer there, or Worcester, or who knows where, with much higher numbers. You're not getting those names. All of our emergency response people should be wearing masks all the time. You know, whether it's at a polling place, whether it's responding to an
so,
emergency.
so, John, everybody keeps saying names, we don't want names, we're looking for locations.
And those are given out to the dispatch people, and that's what we're being told to do by the state. And again, if you think, Copeland and Page has a different take on that, we'd love to hear from them.
So, one of the things that you said to me one time, Trevor, was that you wanted to keep rumor mongering from happening, right? So what about, a store that has an employee that might get infected? There was just a rumor not too long ago about a store near here that had, an employee that had gotten infected, and people were nervous about it, and they're asking us about it, and we have no idea. Turns out that it had been over 3 weeks earlier than that they had that, and that management had taken care of it, and nobody knew about it. But rumors start because we're a small town of under 5,000 people. And once somebody gets something, somebody else knows about it, and rumors start. And if I'm confronted by somebody that says, hey, what happened at such and such place, you know, I can say, well, I don't know. Or I could say, well, it's all set, you don't have to worry about that. Because the Board of Health and the Board of Selectmen are both supposed to know about the locations of infectious diseases. Period. That's what the Mass General Law says.
And we're the anomaly. We're the only town in the entire central Mass that
And I
doesn't
don't
get
know
it.
what to tell you.
Yeah.
DPH has told us.
And I don't believe that's
everybody has
accurate.
told us not to do it.
That is absolutely accurate, and we have it from a number of sources, so,
Well-
well, I'm not gonna argue with you about it,
Again,
because,
I would love to hear it
Thank
from, town council.
well,
And that's your opinion on all infectious diseases?
Yes, again, when I read that, and I don't have it in front of me and I don't have it memorized, but, what it is saying is the two boards are responsible to see to public health, and it's their decision on how they handle that.
It says shall know.
And so, again, what we've been counseled on is what we're doing.
Who counseled you?
Can you give me another example of other infectious diseases that you would call into dispatch and let somebody know?
Oh, yeah, well, they may not be handled that way.
So you wouldn't do the
But-
same thing as that? You wouldn't, like, if somebody else had.
No, like, so if we had somebody with triple,
COVID
if we had
related?
somebody with triple E, for example, it's not really a quarantine situation, so it's a different protocol. Like, if there was another thing where there were quarantines involved, it would
yeah.
probably.
Is triple E infectious?
I'm sorry?
Is triple E infectious? Doesn't
Well,
pass from one
no,
person to
no,
another, right?
doesn't.
It's just a
Right.
mosquito.
It's-
That- I was
it's
just
from-
curious,
from
what other,
certain
Yeah.
you know,
bacteria.
you could give me a couple other
There-
examples of just
there's-
something that you would consider an infectious disease.
Yeah, I'd have to go into our, you know, file on that, it's so rare. But it's things like that, you know, the public health nurse and, you know, in the case of that, the school is notified. But again, that's why we have a public nurse to deal with these situations, because none of us are really qualified to deal with them.
Well, if the public nurse knows, shouldn't we know also, in case there's a problem down the road?
Again,
I'm
please
asking a
have-
question, that's all.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
have.
that- you know, the public health nurse, when I spoke to her recently, because we had to change because Brian left, and she was adamant, she said, what do you do with this information? I said, I give it to dispatch, and she says, and to nobody else. I said, correct. She said, right, that's the exact right way.
What does Chrissy do?
Works for the town of Palmer now.
The what?
She doesn't work for us anymore.
She's gone,
Yeah,
and she was our health agent.
Yes.
When did she leave?
Last,
we just were notified finally. She's done some, small amount of work for us, but she's been telling us all along that she can get heat from her boss about, resigning because of, she's got people that have left her Board of Health in Palmer and people that have left her, the employee there under her, and her boss put her up so that her job description is more. And so she has been asked to cut back on her outside towns, and we were her largest outside town. And I'm not sure whether she's cut back on any of the others.
Are we bigger than West Brookfield?
we're a bigger town than West Brookfield.
Yeah, we're
We
bigger
are.
than all the Brookfields, yeah.
Population wise?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Jason, I just do want to clarify one thing. Section 104 does not say that the selectmen shall know.
What's it say?
It says that shall use all possible care to prevent the spread of infection.
Is that the whole thing?
That's the part of the first sentence. It does not
Read the
anywhere
whole
say
thing.
shall know. You want to read the whole thing?
Chapter 111, section 104.
Section 104, if a disease dangerous to the public health exists in a town, the selectmen and board of health shall use all possible care to prevent the spread of infection and may give public notice of infected places by such means as in their judgment may be the most effectual for common safety.
So there you go. We should all know the locations.
No,
That's not what it
that
says.
we should
It's
use
exactly
all
what it
possible-
says, John.
Well, let's just have town council look at it, and we'll go over it with
I just
DPH
wanted to
with town
clarify that it
council.
does not say shall
Well,
know.
I'll tell you, we will at some point, but right now, there are 3 or 4 cases challenging the governor's powers under chapter 639, because it's an active war power, it's not an infectious disease power, and it doesn't mention it, so I know that 3, 4, 5 have challenged it. The Supreme Judicial Court in Massachusetts wouldn't even let the Superior Court rule on it, and they took it up on their own. So I know that argument is set for September, and we should have an answer pretty soon. Once we have that answer, everything else will flow from there, because if he doesn't have the power that he says he has under the thing, then everything falls apart like a deck of cards. So we'll, I think we'll hold that off until that comes out. I think it's premature to banter over it right now.
Is this still an open motion on the floor?
Motion on the floor? Yeah, did we not? Oh, we didn't vote on that.
We were gonna hold off until.
Yeah, that was the amended
Yeah,
motion.
that's the amended
so-
motion.
Yeah,
Yep.
you never voted on the amended motion.
Right.
All right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So that handles
Thanks.
the contract issue. Get us something
Yeah.
and we'll update.
At no time did we need to pull one on the casting on the town or Cal Select Board. We've just been trying to keep a really good public health nurse that's highly respected in the area working for us, because they're not easy to get.
Yep, no, I understand. And I think that's probably a lesson for us to go through all our contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
most of them you do sign, and, like that one, you know, and again, it's a real important one for us to try to stay up on our, solid waste contracts, all this stuff. We endeavor to keep those, current and, you know, get the, RFPs out on time and all of that stuff. And this is one that foolishly I thought was a memorandum of understanding with her and with the town of, Palmer to use, not Susan Palmer, but,
So,
so that, you know, because it just continued she continued working for us. And I didn't,
all right. The next one is the transfer station sticker user fee type stuff. I have the two cases here. One's a Springfield case from 2006, which is the most recent case, and it goes over user fees versus an impermissible tax. And this one here also had an opt-out provision, which is exactly like the structure we have now. They bill everybody, and if you don't want to pay, then you have to provide documentation to the town in order to opt out. And the court found that that is an impermissible tax. If the customer is not free to just walk away, it's impermissible. The opt-out provision is coercive, essentially leaving the customer at the mercy of the city to decide whether it will agree to stop, allowing them to dispose of their trash. It's indicative of an impermissible tax. It's also troubling that payments already received have been included in the city's general fund. That is usually indicative of an impermissible tax. That's exactly what's happening in North Brookfield right now, and it's impermissible tax. Nobody's challenged us on it, so we've been able to get away with it. But we expend a lot of time and energy and money in paying our town collector to try to go after billing everybody in town and having them pay it. And it should be just an opt-in fee. If you go to the transfer station, you want to use the transfer station, you pay a fee when you drive in, and they give you a sticker, and you're good for the year.
well, you know, what we have been doing for years, and it's been through the select board, they've been saying the tax collector has to collect those fees, and we believe it's working. We are down to only 40 people that need to potentially get rebates of the 97 when I was last year. That was about the number that we were talking about. When we went through that list with Sheila, it was whittled down to about 40. We will get all of those people. Some of them have paid, and they're just dealing with whether it's a two-family or a one-family. We're getting all of that cleaned up so that the bills that will go out this year will be just the people who have stickers currently. And I believe that's legal.
So why do we send out bills? What does it cost to send out a bill, and why do we send it out? When I come to the transfer station, if I don't have a sticker on the whatever day of January, I write them a check, or I don't use it.
Well, it was because past select boards said that the tax collector had to collect that money, and we believe it's the safest way so that we're not dealing with large amounts of money coming through the, center there.
Well, what does it cost to send the bills out?
I can't tell you right off the top of my
You
head.
gotta print them,
Yes,
you gotta stamp them, you
Yeah.
gotta,
And everybody in town gets them. But I will say, I talked to Ann this morning about this
Yeah.
issue, about collecting, and she spoke very highly of the staff that you have over at the transfer station right now,
Yeah.
in their money collection and accounting and handling of their money. So if you think there's gonna be an issue there, I can tell you with the current staff and the person that you have in charge, there's absolutely no issue
well,
at this point.
she's
So-
very good, but she's not dealing with 1,000, you know, it's tough enough to get them to put the new ones on when we get it, and again, it was the select board that demanded that, we go through the tax collector with this, because it's a town fee. And if you're saying you don't wanna do that anymore, this is news to us.
Well, and that's exactly right. Just like a previous board said that that's the way they wanted it, even despite the fact that it's illegal according to the law, but, I mean, hey. Yeah.
why does a sticker have to start on the 1st of January? Why can't stickers start the 1st of every month, so that you scatter out the collecting, the workload, and everything over a 12-month period, and the sticker's good for 12 months after you get it? Not like we do with the registration.
Well,
of the
then
car.
you'd have to be checking the date on every sticker as it comes in, it's not,
Different colors, I mean, this is not a,
not 12 different colors, it's tough enough to keep track of everybody having a sticker coming in the facility.
well, I agree with, I
People
agree
are
with you
working,
there.
pretty hard on, what they do down there, and, you know, I'm just, you know, the old saying, why, fix something that isn't broke? I mean, if,
It's broken though, it's illegal.
It's
Yeah.
illegal,
That's what he's
so.
saying.
it's not illegal,
But we gotta make every dollar count.
again,
What you just said?
no.
I just read the court case, but I
Right,
guess,
but
I
can, there are other court
Okay.
cases where it's not, and again, get town council to tell us that it's illegal for us to bill for a fee.
no, actually, I'll make a motion that we stop the current system and go to a user fee basis. They're not gonna use the town collector to collect these
Well,
fees.
that's what we're doing as a user
It's a
fee
motion on the
basis.
table.
Second.
Can we talk about this?
We just have talked about it, and now we're talking in
No,
circles,
you
so.
You just put the motion on the
So-
floor, I'd like to talk to the motion. It has always been a user's fee. And user's fee, you said this in a previous meeting, all user's fees have to be collected by the tax collector. And that the select board, you can just decide how we collect that. And if you want us to collect it through the Board of Health office, or at the transfer station, we can move to that. But
Okay,
I think-
so, I never said that a user fee has to be collected by the town collector, because that is absolutely not the case, because the town clerk collects dog license fees and,
well, then
other,
I
Marriage
just speaking,
so,
but again, if you don't wanna collect them through the tax collector anymore, make that vote, tell us that.
Can the
I just
board,
have a question. So, if we go to the user fee, because I'm 20 years I've lived here, I've never used the dump. Every year I get the letter and I have to go send into the town that I have my dumpster company has not changed. So does that mean I'm not gonna get that letter anymore? And I have to
That's-
prove
that's
to
what I
you
thought.
that I have a dumpster, I have trash
That's
pickup.
exactly what it
I pay
means.
trash, I won't have, cause every year it said, I
right.
have trash.
Well, I think it'll
Send
save
it all
everybody
in,
trouble.
and it's a waste of money sending me all the letters every year.
Right,
Well,
Cause
the
we get
courts-
two.
and,
The
We get
courts
one
have
for each
said,
of us.
the courts have said that if you have to take an affirmative step to opt out, then it's an impermissible tax and it's onerous on the homeowner. So that's why we're saying there shouldn't be any opt-out provision. If you want to use the landfill, then you should have to go somewhere, get a sticker, and use the landfill. It's like a lot of towns with their beaches. If you want to use the beach, you go into a town clerk, you go into an office somewhere, you get a sticker for the beach, and they put it on your car. It's not rocket science.
Can the Board of Health collect the fees?
Board of
the
Health can
sticker
collect
fees?
it, yeah, Board of Health can
I'd
collect
be
it,
just
the
happy not to have to do
transfer
that.
people can
Yes,
collect
and
it.
we would be happy too, because, let me just explain some history around this. For years, the fees went out just to people who had stickers. Every once in a while, we would send it out to all of the people, because we would catch a lot of people that didn't even know it existed. Also, we are asked by the state of Massachusetts, DEP, to track where solid waste goes in this town. And a certain amount of it we can do through what the haulers give us for their list of clients, and what really should happen is every year, those amounts should come off. What we also historically found is that one family would get one sticker, and there would be a 3-family house. There'd be 3 people coming in and getting off scot-free on one sticker. So that's why there's been, you know, fees going out to more than one person in the household. So we go back to getting it down at the, you know, hopefully we can do it in such a way that we're not gonna have that. But you miss out a lot of money when you don't bill all of the people in that household.
But that money goes into the general budget,
Yes,
right? It doesn't come to the Board of Health, doesn't
No.
go into a revolving account, it comes to the general budget.
that's correct.
You can't charge a user fee when the town already budgets for it and pays for it. So it's problematic
Yes,
on a
you
number
can.
of levels. Yeah,
I would like to know how he's calling it a user fee. When we moved in 9 years ago to this town, we were told because we were homeowners, we had to pay the $50, it was a tax,
No.
whether we used it or not.
no, you could opt out. You always could opt
We
out.
found that out 3 years later.
Well,
The
yeah,
law
A lot
on
of
users
money.
fee, the law on users fees is that you have to have the opt-out clause.
Can I finish?
otherwise it's an impermissible tax. And that's case law that I think I just read.
You did.
Okay, so,
My discussion is there a more efficient way, a better way to do this, is the point of my discussion, okay?
Yeah.
Setting up the bills, to me, I think is a huge waste of money, and the end result, well,
I think we would still do that to catch all of the people. Again, this has evolved over, you know, 20 some odd years. And it has been the best system. The only
Keeps going
real
up.
problem with the system is billing people that aren't using the facility.
okay.
And I'm sorry to have interrupted you. Do you want to finish?
That's fine, I'm good.
Okay, move the question.
I'm good.
so,
So you can't go to the dump if you don't have the sticker.
There you
That's
go.
it.
There you
Right.
go.
yeah,
So why wouldn't we just pay at the
At the
dump?
dump.
right.
And if
That's
you
what we just
don't,
voted on,
that
yep.
That's-
means
that's our
it's
point.
never gonna go
Motion.
there.
So there's a motion on the floor, and we've had a motion to move the question by the board, so, all in favor? Aye.
Do the question again, what was,
It was to not have the town
Tax.
collector bill everybody
And
and
collect.
pay, and collect the fee from everybody, and do away with the opt-out provision, and just if you use the dump, you get a sticker, whether the Board of Health has them come in and get it from the Board of Health and buy it directly, or they get it at the transfer station.
so
when
the
they
Board
go
of Health
in.
is gonna have to figure this out and do it on their own?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And collect the fees
Yep.
and whatnot?
Right.
But they don't have to spend the money on postage.
But they don't spend the
Postage and
money on
collecting,
postage.
the
No,
town collectors.
we're gonna send bills.
Yeah, and we
We're
pay
send
for
bills
that.
by-
But they'll come back to you, to the Board of Health.
Yeah.
And you'll put it in the general fund.
I mean, a lot of them do anyways.
But again, we will change that and deal with that, and we'll see in a year how that works. You know, you know, gone are the days, again, I know people don't like listening to this old fossil, but, there was a time when we had a dump, and we thought it was, free to throw away, right? Well, the first year we opened the transfer station, we paid less than we paid 1 year to operate our landfill. Guess what? We had to pay millions of dollars to cap that landfill. We're still having to spend $12,000 a year annually to check whatever is coming out of the groundwater, out of the air for that.
That comes with
In
changes,
perpetuity.
that comes with changes in the environmental law all the time.
Right.
I mean, every town, virtually every town had a dump
Well,
that you
what-
just threw it into.
What I'm getting at is, is that, the current system that we have is working really well. It has been noticed by people across New England. I was given a friggin' award for running such a great facility.
Right, no, and
And-
we're not saying that the
and-
facility is gonna close, we're just saying that the way that you're billing is not legal. People are getting swept up into
Yeah.
paying for something that they don't use. The opt-out provision is onerous and it's against the law. And we're not gonna expose the town to any liability of a lawsuit, and we're not gonna defend against it, we're not gonna have town council defend against it if
And
somebody
we will,
makes a bitch about it.
We will proceed.
All right?
You want a second?
Yep.
Second?
It was already.
So, was it seconded? Yeah, because I made the motion, he
Oh,
seconded.
okay.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good, moving on. Then we have a request for the Board of Health clerk. You're looking for,
We're looking for a pay raise because we haven't had one, and we've lost a really good person. It's tough to get a good person to do this for the $17 an hour. The job description, I remember past select board member, job description that was done with the, that current Board of Selectmen and Town Council, I said, we can't get anybody to do this for less than $40 an hour, this is ridiculous. Who wrote this job description? And we explained to him the Board of Selectmen and Town Council. The job description of anybody that's doing our clerk thing is much more than a typical clerk's job. And we're paying typical clerk, even at $20 an hour, which we were asking to bring it up to. It's,
well, I'll just say this about it. The police department does not have a clerk at all. The highway department's clerk, she's at $14 an hour, I think. So, that's where we're at for clerking positions, so, and that's why I wanted the finance committee here, because when we talk
That's what
about,
they're actually paying her? I
Yeah.
thought you were saying it was 16. Oh.
no,
Well, I
well,
think that's scandalous, but again, if you wanna compare the, highway clerk to the Board of Health clerk and what they do, the job descriptions would be radically different.
I'm just saying, clerking is, a valuable
Well,
position, and I
clerking is
think,
probably not the name that it should be on that, it's not what the job description name is. You know, read the job description. I think you should do that before you pass judgment on what that person should get paid.
I
Well, you
think
just
as a
pass
board, I-
judgment on what she does over there. It's not as much as what
No.
If
your
we're
clerk
being
does.
asked to
You just
consider a raise, we would like to
Yeah.
see all of the town clerking individuals' job descriptions and what they're making, so that we can assess whether it's extremely different or not.
I think that
Because
that's,
there's
And
no
they were
right
making,
now.
he was making 17?
I believe.
I think it was
1607, I think, was what I saw.
1607?
Yeah, it's some odd number like that,
Yeah.
I saw today.
It's, you know, when we did this, we've gone through this a number of times, and when we've assessed what other towns are getting, it's more in the 20 and above that, you know, are having, some boards of health don't operate transfer stations, they don't do a lot of what we do here. And, so, you know, it's a very demanding job, it's very tough to keep somebody, and it's very important to keep somebody, and one way to do that is to provide you know, a decent amount of money. And again, I like the idea of the finance board is to, let's look at the job descriptions of all of our people, and I've always, whenever I've come looking for raises for any of our people, I have said, I'm using that somebody else is underpaid in town to continue to underpay other people, just doesn't make sense.
No, and that's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying in a fair market, $40 an hour isn't what most people are making to do much more difficult and complicated jobs. So I would like to see what the job entails before
Yeah.
we determine what a fair
Yeah, we're not
wage would
asking
be.
for 40.
I just heard that number a couple minutes ago, so.
That's
Yeah.
what he said.
So you wanna table this
No, I
until the
said
finance
that's
committee
what
gets
a
a chance
select
to look
board
at it?
member said when he saw the
Yeah.
job description, and I will let you see the job description and you decide.
So,
How many hours a week does this position do?
It was originally a full-time job with, that gave benefits, and, when that person left, we stopped that. And, so it's gotta be under the, you know, and again, I think
19.
Brian was working a little more on COVID, that was billed to COVID, because he was taking up a lot of work that saved, work from the nurse and her health inspector, which was getting paid substantially more money. And now, and we would love to get this person up to where they could be doing that too, but we gotta get her up to just being able to do normal, you know, payroll, you know.
Well, the issue's gonna be, okay, so right now, we have a situation where they have to work certain hours, or maybe, you know, their value is a little more because of the exigent circumstance. What happens when that goes away and they're back down to,
It certainly
so,
would be considered as
so
part of
now,
it.
now we're
Well-
sitting there paying somebody a lot of money when they're just
No,
not.
I'm saying the $20 an hour is whether this person's doing any COVID work at all for us, that's what a fair, rate is for that. And again, I like the idea of the finance board, look at the job description, compare it to the job descriptions of the other people, and again, I am always in favor of, bringing these wages up to where we can attract people of quality, and more importantly, keep them, because it takes a long time to train somebody as a clerk, and, you know, it's really tough when you lose them.
I know, well, I agree 100%, and this board has said that repeatedly, the finance committee said that repeatedly. It's just a matter of how much money do we have coming into the town, I mean, it just,
We walk a fine line trying to balance the budgets with everything.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
If this clerk is going to act, her job description is gonna change if she's responsible for collecting fees. So it's gonna add to her, or somebody's.
And that will be considered as a part of it.
Yeah, so,
And that will dramatically change, it may dramatically change the number of hours we need from her as well. I don't know, again, we were told this is what we had to do, that's why we've done the tax collector routine. And we also, the point of not handling a lot of money down there, was the point behind it, I believe. And so we will put our heads together as a board and come up with what we think.
Well, town accountant had set that standard that we weren't to take checks down at, the
but you
transfer
do,
station.
you take money down there.
We take money, but we don't take checks for the, stickers. We have been, when Tom came in, Tom said it was okay, and then Nancy wanted us to go back
Right,
and
so,
not do it.
well,
So it was kinda.
fair enough.
You can't unring the bell.
Well,
Well, we don't want, you know, nobody wants Lisa to be walking out of there with a knot of money, you
Yeah,
know,
we
4
want it to all
o'clock
be
in
done in
January.
checks so that she's not gonna get robbed. But I mean, again, my board has always wanted to be transparent about any of this, and I believe that we will sit together, come up with what we think we're gonna try to do, and then run it by, you guys, and get input from you.
Okay.
And then we'll see how it works.
And
Right.
we'll still need Lisa's help running Point, because even though we bought a license, that's the database that we use to generate the bills. Even though we bought a license, we've never had access to it, so we need to get it installed and talk to them. And then Lisa hopefully can just tell us how to set up the database to run.
Yeah, because it's gonna be, similar to the town clerk and the dog license type stuff, you know, you take in revenue and you turn it over
Right.
in a turnover thing, it's, they say it's a rather simple procedure, so. So, all right, so we've already passed the sticker thing, so we got the Board of Health clerk. Did you have a motion? Was that in the form of a motion? You wanted to table? Or send it to them?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to table the discussion on the clerk's pay raise until the finance committee gets a chance to look at all the clerks and cross-reference and talk to the Board of Health about it, and
Okay.
we'll go from there.
So the motion is to table our discussion until the Finance Committee has had a chance to study it and make a recommendation. And financing
One thing
option.
to that, in the past, I've also gone out and got some comps from other towns.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
haven't done it
fortunately,
in a
it's
while.
available everywhere
Jason made the
online.
motion.
You can
Okay,
get comps for any
Right.
that
job.
would be great, because I'd love to see those too.
Okay,
Trust me, I'm always comping my own jobs.
Okay. Second.
so a motion's been made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Cause you only.
All right. Thanks, is there anything else you guys wanted to say to us while you're here? That's all we had to discuss for you guys.
Well, again, there will be some other things. I'm, been really upset about what happened with the Sportsman's Club. There was this impression that we called alcohol, and then we called the state when we could not get Chrissy to go out and do any inspections. We wrote up a guidance document that Chrissy okayed with us, handed out to our food and drink establishments. Way back in the beginning of August, we called DPH with help with these inspections when she could not do them. And DPH put all of the food and drink ones over to ABCC. ABCC came out this past week and dealt with a couple of, and they were very fair with anybody, they didn't take anybody's license. And they called the Sportsman's Club. I had given this guidance document to Tara before the Drovers Roast, checked in with her, she said, we're not gonna have more than 50 people, and I said, good. I said, you see there that there's fines and the ability to lose your license. If an inspector comes from outside, and I told her we are sending all of this to the state, both because you had recommended that, and because we just don't have a health inspector.
Now, my recommendation was that you guys do it, not that you go tattle to the state.
No.
That wasn't my recommendation. When I said you guys have the power, according to this chapter and section, local boards of health, to write tickets and enforce. But you want to make the rules, and you want to have somebody else do the enforcement. That's what we're against.
No,
So-
the state makes the rules, and you actually in writing told us to get the state to enforce these. And, it doesn't matter, the point is, we cannot do it on our own, so we have asked the state to step in, and
And you can't do it on your own, why?
Can I finish? There's 20 inspectors with ABCC. They cannot come running everywhere. We don't even know ahead of time when they're gonna come out and deal with our, inspection things. They come out and they've been very lenient and very fair with everybody. And the Sportsman's Club got a call from them about the rules and regulations. They decided to, not have their thing. They said we were trying to do a sting on them. There's no way we could, have ABC come out when we wanted them to. We called them in the beginning of August.
Yeah, based on the fact that 400 people liked it on a Facebook post, so that means they're violating the 50? That's
No.
like a preemptive thing.
No. They stopped their show.
They stopped it because you threatened to take their license away, and
We
they
did not
can't.
threaten them. We did not threaten them. We showed them what the law was, and we said, if,
It's the law. God, I hate that. It's not the law.
Well,
It's a
okay.
guidance, not a law.
the
You like to
guidance
say it's a law,
document
but it's
from
not.
the state, well, excuse me, but we are bound to, enforce that, and the state is bound to enforce it.
Yep.
And,
All right, moving on then, because that's going nowhere, and we're not going to agree on that, so.
I just wanted to clear it up because I think people are.
Well, that's clear as mud, thank you. Moving on. Hayden Pond Lodge request?
They wrote a letter, it's in there, they just, wanna be able to put up their signs, and they listed a few locations,
Oh, yeah.
148, 67.
Yep. Yep, so, this came in a while ago, right?
Yeah, but I kept having to table it because.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that meeting
Seemed
and,
like it
Yeah.
was last year, wasn't it, that,
No, this came
was
in
it spring?
mid-July.
So it's Thursday.
yeah, but then we had the special town meeting, we went to every other week, we had a special town meeting, and then, yeah, did anybody have a problem with this? I don't have.
They're just small signs,
There's
it's like the
Rotary
Lions
signs,
Club,
there's-
yeah.
yeah, I move,
Excuse me, can you?
all right, I move to approve the signs for the Hayden Lodge.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So tell them that's all good.
Well,
We're gonna skip over this next one, right? We don't have the Purple Heart thing? We don't?
I have the declaration here, and he's been calling, asking me every week if you guys have signed it. Basically, he just wants it signed so that we can get the signs up in town. It doesn't have to be like a big reveal or anything like that, but, you can maybe,
I mean,
He
he's
wanted
the-
to do
he's
a
the
big
one that-
thing before, and now he doesn't, he just wants.
well, it kind of fell apart with the
because of
COVID thing.
COVID, yeah, now
so-
it's different.
Right, so, do you wanna read it and then we'll approve it?
Yeah, because this was his initiative, if he wants it signed,
Yeah.
I
We'll
just
just
fine.
Make
Yeah, I
sure,
think he
you
just
know,
wants to get the
it's
signs
Mr.
up
Foyle's
and-
initiative and,
Yeah.
you know,
So,
put a lot of effort.
Jim Foyle had come to us, it's Jim, right? Jim?
Yes.
Yes.
Had come to us and asked us to dedicate the town as a Purple Heart community. We agreed, and we were going to have a big reveal on Memorial Day, which didn't happen. So, the proclamation reads, whereas the people of the town of North Brookfield have great admiration and the utmost gratitude for the men and women who selflessly served their country and their community in the armed forces, and whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women from North Brookfield who served in harm's way in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedom and the way of life enjoyed by our citizens, and whereas many of our citizens were awarded the Purple Heart for their sacrifice, having been wounded in action while engaged in combat. And whereas the Purple Heart is the oldest American military decoration in present use, it was initially created as the badge of military merit on August 7th, 1782 in Newburgh, New York by General George Washington. The award was made of purple cloth, shaped as a heart with the word merit sewn upon it. And whereas August 7th is nationally recognized as Purple Heart Appreciation Day, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen of the town of North Brookfield does hereby proclaim that the town of North Brookfield is a Purple Heart community, and that August 7th will be considered Purple Heart Day in North Brookfield. The Board of Selectmen encourages residents and businesses to display the American flag and recognize Purple Heart recipients on that day, while honoring the service and sacrifice of all armed forces personnel on that day. So I'll entertain a motion to sign that proclamation.
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you to Jim Foyle for doing the work to get that for us. And also, I don't know if anybody noticed on August 7th, big thank you to Holly Kolarski for putting up the purple lights on the town hall and the monuments up in front of the library. So,
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but we now have lens coverings up in the town hall bell. So on Purple Heart Day, they're purple. On Gold Star Day, they're gold. We have a number of different colors now that we're doing.
yeah.
And that's all Holly's
Yeah. You
doing,
gotta
so.
sign all
Oh,
of
we
them.
gotta sign all of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're getting framed.
I thought it was one and done.
Yeah, you too. Who's getting all these?
I have 4 frames in my office, and Jim had an idea of where he wanted each of them to go, so. We're keeping one, I believe Holly's getting one, he's getting one. I don't know who else.
Who's mine?
Just want the black.
She's the veteran service agent for the
Holly
town.
Kolarski?
So while you guys are signing, we have a boundary validation program. What's that?
It's every year, you have to verify that the boundaries of North Brookfield are accurate. I emailed the map to the assessors and they said it looked good, so.
Okay, so we just gotta,
You just gotta sign.
oh, I gotta sign?
You have to, yes.
We were supposed to go spelunking or whatever, what do they call that?
Perambulation.
Perambulation?
Perambulation. But I don't know what you.
You've perambulated enough around this town.
I've seen most of it.
And thank goodness he has.
All right, and then, what's the next one? designate Ashley as the signatory for CMRPC contract invoices?
Yes, they've been asking, I guess several towns have designated someone to be the signee for the contracts and for the invoices, because it's been taking them so long to get back, you know, if we meet every 2 weeks, or if the stuff comes in, you know, on a Wednesday and it doesn't get sent until the following week, so I said I'd ask.
Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good.
You're it.
That's it. All right. Let's see, we have a,
You need a pay raise.
yeah.
Every time it's on your name,
There you
let's
go.
go.
Keep it down over
Put that forward.
You're leaving, I know.
We have a community development block grant request for $5,374.55. Want to take a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sign that. That's done. What did I do?
We already did the highway thing.
All right.
Thank you.
Approved that already.
Go to
GASB
bed, will you?
contract.
Nancy sent it to me, it's actuarial valuation services,
Yep.
so you need to sign the contract if you're comfortable with it, or you can wait until next meeting.
Yeah, no, that's something that we do every other year, I think it is.
Yeah, I think so, and then, at some point, we're gonna need to appropriate, there's not quite enough in the line item, we need another $750, but we'll have to appropriate that at another.
Yeah, we'll have to do that at a town meeting.
Yeah.
But good news is we got free cash, so that's good. We'll be meeting with the finance committee to decide where it goes. I think we should be squirreling it away, because who knows what next year's gonna look like. There's no contract here, is there? Oh, the top here. All right, so, did I miss anything? Anybody have
No, I
anything?
think that was everything.
Public
Alright.
comment period.
Public comment period. Are you here to comment, or?
No.
Oh, you just here to,
Who was here for moral
cool.
support?
A fan.
I like it when there are people in the room. Sometimes we're talking to an empty room.
You're welcome.
It's like being at a baseball game these days, I guess.
These ones move though, they're not those
Yeah.
stationary ones.
Anybody?
Anything, Brandon? No?
What?
Anybody
com-
have
public
anything to
comment
say?
period?
Public comment period?
No.
Your opportunity to,
That's the first
yeah.
I came prepared for 50, but never showed up.
Crushed your dreams.
Yeah, you probably heard she was coming.
Good. Anything else?
Might have been for Warren.
Yeah, I think so.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did anybody ever get on the beach committee?
Yes, we
Yes.
appointed 3 people at the town, right before the town meeting the other day,
And
so.
none of them have followed through with any action.
One person did,
Oh, one did, who's that?
Joe.
Jablonski.
He
Yep.
got
Got sworn
sworn in.
Joe came in?
Yep, Michelle Thayer filled out her application, she hasn't
Okay.
been sworn in, and Tashina, I guess you're gonna send me her
Yeah, I have,
application?
she sent it to me, so.
Okay.
Okay, and then,
awesome.
So there's
she can
3,
get
didn't
sworn
she's
in.
gonna get
Were you
sworn in.
interested, or?
If there was nobody, yes, but if there was people, go ahead it.
Well, let's say there's nobody and you can join, how's that? The more the merrier.
That's all
Yeah.
right.
That
I
falls
just-
apart, me
I
and
just
her
felt
will
bad
do it.
because I was down there a lot. And
Yep.
So what we've been talking about lately, I've been doing it for 2-3 years now, but, what I'd love to see happen is a recreation committee. Instead of just a beach, a playground, a rail trail, you know, just one big recreation committee that just
So-
does everything.
I moved to make John Tripp the chair of the recreation committee.
I second
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, I guess motion's been made. And seconded.
Thanks, Jason.
He's gonna beat me up when I go outside.
I have a question about the town park. What are you guys doing with that, or what are you doing?
If we only knew.
Oh, you're talking the center, the little
Center
po-
Yeah, it's all
pocket?
dug up, but what's happening?
I just put electrical piping underground for some pole lighting, for a Christmas tree, outlets to light the new tree. Santa Claus is gonna go up in the back near Vibram where he always sits. They've done that for years. And I have a pipe over for the flagpole, to light the flagpole directly under it. we
What are
have,
you gonna fill in, you know, what do you?
we
gonna
dug
have
out,
grass, or what is it?
we dug out all the fill and gravel and dirt and rocks and stumps. We dug everything out of there, and it all went up. Freddie Smith up on Brooks Pond Road was kind enough to screen all of that dirt and stone and everything out of the stuff. And we have 7 loads of freshly screened loam right over here on the pile that's gonna go back in there. It's all done, and Freddie did it for absolutely nothing.
So it's gonna be grass.
There's gonna be grass. I've secured,
Walking trail, right? You walk, well, like.
I've secured, I had,
Pavers?
a friend of mine, Jimmy Grace, he's an architectural, design person. Years ago he did that, he doesn't do that now, but he designed my little sketch, and we have a nice, park outline. There's gonna be, paver bricks, walking paths around, the square. It'll be ADA compliant off the School Street side, so flush with the sidewalk. And we secured all the paver bricks from Teco Block. Teco Block is donating all the blocks for down there. So we worked with Highway, and myself, and we got that all done.
Benches, all your benches?
I have 9 park benches that have been donated by townspeople. They wanna put their names on them. My wife and I did one, police department, I've got all the people down, they're all gonna get their names in memory of whoever they want, on a plaque on the benches. They're all at my house, and they all need to be assembled when I'm ready. This week, or towards the end of the week, hopefully I can get the gravel in there, get it leveled off. We have to get it compacted, and then we'll bring in the bricks. And I know somebody at a gravel pit that's gonna donate the gray stone dust to go underneath the pavers.
On construction?
This whole
We have
park
connections.
this whole park is costing, just about nothing to the town. It's all done by donation and
That's the best kind.
hard labor and hard work that me and my crew have been doing.
All over town.
That's where the park is. You can actually walk 3.5 miles on the rail trail now. You can park right over here, and you can walk all the way to Route 9, without getting your feet wet. It's a nice walk.
My granddaughter went 2 miles, and we came out the 2 miles.
Yep.
And we got right off the police station, and she had to take a break, go
Yep.
further and have to take a break.
Yep.
And I'm looking, I'm not having to take a break, get
Yep.
up and walk.
It's a beautiful walk, there's beautiful scenery. My wife and I do a portion of it every night with the puppy, and all we ask is that you clean up after your pets. Just move it off to the side, you don't have to bag it and take it. You're welcome to bike it, walk it, jog it, whatever you wanna do on there.
I found a couple sticks that were nice and straight, so
Yep.
there were just one here and one there.
Yep.
So I grabbed them, I
Walking
filled
sticks.
them all up, and now me and her have our own walking sticks.
Yeah. Another project that I worked on for a year and a half is the Bates Observatory.
Yeah.
If you look at the Bates Observatory, Brandon's got a lot of pictures on the historical page, and I spent 2 hours with Mr. Eurasius about a month and a half ago. I went down, saw his facility down there, and out of that conversation, Ken Eurasius decided that he was gonna rebuild the Bates Observatory on his dime. So.
Back to original.
Back to original.
With the
He
ramparts
wants-
around the edges and
He wants to
everything.
go all the way up. Right now, the staging is up. He's put, I had a crew up there, I spent about 30 hours up there,
We
trying
won't-
to recover bricks that were taken down from the top, so that they could use to start rebuilding it. Brandon was
We
on the
won't be able
crew.
to open it though.
Huh? It won't be accessed
It won't
from the
be-
public.
It won't be open
No,
to the public.
no.
You'll be able to go look at it, you won't be able to go inside it.
Right, right.
Because going back to original, we can't make it ADA
Yeah.
compliant,
Yeah.
so.
But just having it there, it's a piece of history from the town, put up in 1839. It was donated to the town by the Bates family years ago. 94, sorry. I was close.
18 or 17?
1894.
I
Was it
think, John,
94?
too, the only thing that we're gonna have to really buy is we're gonna have to find some place to get windows.
I've talked to Howe Lumber
That's right.
about the windows.
Yep.
And Tommy Sokol, I went up with Tom Sokol from Howe's.
Yep.
He's their outside salesperson. He's gonna, we measured up, and he's gonna get us a price on the windows. So,
Well, Kenny said that there's, he knows places you can get some that are made to,
Do you want something at 3:00?
like, original.
Yep, if he
So-
knows,
He's
then,
gonna
you know,
order now,
whatever,
so-
we'll
Anyway.
we'll get it. So the Bates Observatory is on its way. If you look at the historical page, Ken has put some new pictures of what he's done so far. I was up there today, I went up on the staging, which nobody else can do, 'cause it's my project, so I can go up there, I have permission to do that. They've actually got the, what you call dental work, up to where the first, walkway was, the first observatory walkway. If you look at the pictures online, you can see, and they used all the bricks that we saved. I had 7 people up there for quite a few days, saving and salvaging bricks and cleaning them and stacking them, and he was able to get that far. He's gonna supply the rest of the bricks, to go up, because a lot of them got broken. So that's another piece of history that we're saving, so.
And I move to adjourn.
I was just getting going.
I know, that's why I
He
moved
was-
to adjourn.
He was doing his best Joey Hallway.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Second,
Hey,
sorry
all in
folks,
favor? Aye, good night.
you asked the question, right?